So, if you're a pharmacy student or even a practicing pharmacist here in India, there's one law you absolutely need to know. It's basically the blueprint for your entire career, the Pharmacy Act of 1948. So, in this explainer mein, we're going to break down exactly why this law is so crucial for you, right from your education to the moment you get your license to practice. Have you ever really thought about it? What exactly is the bridge between getting your pharmacy degree and actually becoming a licensed pharmacist? Is it just a piece of paper? Not at all. The real answer lies in this foundational law, the Pharmacy Act of 1948. यही वो act है जो आपके profession को define करता है, regulate करता है, and, at the end of the day, protects it. Okay, so first things first, why was this law even needed in the first place? I mean, to really get why the act is so important today, we've got to travel back in time a bit to see what the problem was that it was created to solve. So let's talk about India before 1948. Before this act came into being, the pharmacy profession in India was pretty much chaotic. It was largely unregulated. Just imagine, pretty much anyone could mix and sell medicines without any proper qualifications. I mean, that was a huge risk to public health, right? Luckily, some key committees in 1931 and then again in 1943 saw this danger and strongly recommended that we needed standardized education for pharmacists. And the result of all those urgent calls for reform? Well, that was the Pharmacy Act of 1948. The vision behind this act was really crystal clear. Iska main maqsad tha to give the pharmacy profession the structure and respect it deserved. So it was built on a few core goals. First, regulate the whole profession. Second, raise its status. Third, create a central authority, which we now know as the Pharmacy Council of India, or PCI. And finally, and maybe most importantly, set clear educational standards and make sure that only properly qualified people could get registered as pharmacists. So that brings up the big question, who actually sets all these standards and makes sure everyone follows them? Well, this leads us to the single most important body in Indian pharmacy education, the Pharmacy Council of India, the PCI. The PCI is what's called a statutory body. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying it was created by an act of parliament, by law. It's the top authority that regulates both pharmacy education and the profession across the whole country. And to keep things fresh and relevant, it's actually reconstructed every 5 years. So think about it. The syllabus you study, the exams you write, the standards your college has to meet, all of that is decided by the PCI. So who actually makes up the PCI? Well, the council is designed to be really diverse, to make sure all voices are heard. You've got elected members, people from universities, and practicing pharmacists from every state. Then you have nominated members from big government bodies like the UGC and AICTE. And finally, there are ex officio members, who are top officials in government health departments. This mix makes sure that every decision has input from the worlds of academia, government, and of course the professionals on the ground. And what does the PCI actually do day to day? Well, think about it this way. They're the ones who create and update the education regulations. That's basically your syllabus. They give the green light to your college's pharmacy course and exams. They maintain a huge national database of all pharmacists, called the Central Register. They even look at pharmacy qualifications from other countries and inspect colleges to make sure the quality is top-notch. In short, they're overseeing every single critical step of your professional journey. But how do they make these super important rules? It's not like they just decide one day. It's a very careful, collaborative process. First off, the PCI prepares a draft. Then, that draft gets sent out to all the state governments for their thoughts and comments. After getting all that feedback, the PCI finalizes the draft and sends it to the central government for the final approval. Only when it gets that stamp of approval is it published in the Gazette of India, and that's when it officially becomes law. So it's a really thorough process that makes sure the rules are solid and accepted across the country. All right, so far we've been talking about the big national body, the PCI. But let's get practical. As a pharmacy graduate, when it's time to get your license, who do you actually go to? Well, this is where things move to the state level. This is the stage where you officially get to call yourself a registered professional. तो PCI और State Pharmacy Council, यानी SPC में आखिर फर्क क्या है? Let's use a simple analogy. Think of the PCI as the National Education Board that sets the syllabus for the exam. But the SPC? That's like the regional office that actually issues your final certificate. PCI बनाती है national standards, लेकिन आपका actual registration SPC के पास होता है.
It's the SPC that regulates pharmacy practice in your state and maintains the list of all the pharmacists there.
Here's a cool little piece of history from the Act, something called the First Register. You see, जब ये act किसी state में पहली बार लागू हुआ, a special team called a registration tribunal was created. Their one job was to make the very first official list of all the qualified pharmacists in that state. That list became the foundation, the starting point for everything that followed. Okay, this is the important part. Let's walk through the actual steps to getting your license. First up, you submit an application form to your state pharmacy council. Along with that, you attach all your required documents and pay the fee. Next, the council will carefully check everything, your qualifications, your training, all of it. Once they've verified everything and you're found eligible, your name is officially entered into the state register. And just like that, boom, you are officially a registered pharmacist. And speaking of documents, here's a quick checklist of the essentials you're going to need. You'll need your photos, ID proofs, your mark sheets, of course, and that very, very important practical training certificate. Ye documents aapke professional future ka foundation hain, so make sure you have everything ready and keep them safe. And please remember this, getting your registration isn't a one-and-done deal. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. Your registration is usually valid until December 31st of the year after you register. And after that, you have to renew it every single year. If you don't, your name could be removed from the register. It's an ongoing professional responsibility that you really need to stay on top of. All right, so becoming a registered pharmacist comes with a lot of responsibility, right? और इन rules को अगर आप follow नहीं करते, though the consequences can be pretty serious. So let's take a look at the offenses and penalties that are laid out in the Pharmacy Act. This table really shows you how seriously any violations are taken. And notice how the penalties escalate. For a first-time offense of, say, falsely claiming you're a pharmacist, it might just be a fine. But if you do it again, it could lead to imprisonment. And for more serious things, like an unregistered person dispensing medicine or someone blocking an inspector from doing their job, you could face jail time right from the first offense. The message here is loud and clear. You have to play by the rules. Now, this number, 500 rupees, it might not seem like a lot of money. But listen, it's not really about the amount. It's about the principle of the thing. This fine marks a legal violation of professional conduct. And like we just saw, if it happens again, the penalties get much, much tougher. It's all about protecting the integrity of the profession and the safety of the public. So ye tha the Pharmacy Act of 1948, a law that truly shaped modern pharmacy as we know it in India. But I want to leave you with one final thought. Ye Act 1948 mein pass hua tha. Today, we're in the 21st century. So what are the new challenges facing the pharmacy profession? Things like online pharmacies, incredible new drug technologies, changing patient expectations. Is this old act still fully equipped to handle today's world? Sochiyega zarur. Thanks so much for joining me.